There's no such thing as a person, I don't like other people. I'm like, nah. It's like, dude, you're broken, you're traumatized. People who didn't absolutely adore, love, and crave other people's attention, love, care, connection, they fucking died out in evolution because it's impossible to survive on your own.
We try to provide a space for our clients or our friends that is so safe that the loops that couldn't close in childhood because of a lack of safety can close. So I want to provide Finn and also my clients, and that's also like, I guess, true for you. If you really love someone, you want them to be able to be themselves, especially in habits and behaviors and thoughts and whatever that they cannot accept because they were never accepted in childhood or when you were bullied for something or whatever.
What is the motivation for you to do this podcast right now?
The motivation? Honestly, to get it done. And while I say that, I obviously know that this is not a good motivation. And through you asking the question, I allow myself to step out of that and be like, oh, wow, wait a second. I'm actually recording a podcast, not because I love it, but because I feel like it's an obligation. And through just doing that, I feel better. And I also like, so my default right now is still, I don't know what I will like, why I'm recording the podcast, but that's a good thing. Why is that a good thing? Because I don't know what will happen in the podcast. Like, I'm completely open. I have no agenda, and that's a good thing. So I don't know why I'm doing the podcast, as in, I don't know what's going to happen. I have no like outcome that I need from that besides wanting to get closer to the truth of the moment and what is happening here.
Yeah, it's interesting how that question basically shifted the whole vibe. And that kind of also brings me to the topic that I want to talk about, because I've been doing this type of work, coaching, seminars, personal development, for exactly 14 years. That's when I did my first certification. That was like 2 weeks ago. And of course, you read a lot, you learn a lot. And at the beginning, you're searching for, at least I was searching for, like, what's not necessarily what's the truth, but what is something that works for me, right? And over time, when you study more and more stuff and you experience more and more stuff, and specifically out of practice with people, you kind of find what's the essence for you. So what do you think is like the biggest leverage that you have to help people? And really, I mean, what fascinates me about this is why I'm interested in coaching and in therapy and in emotional release and all of these things, spirituality, therefore. Well, obviously, it's a study of life itself, right? It's a study of the human experience. I mean, it's not like giving a massage or something. I guess you can make that a whole spiritual experience too. But I think if you really understand how this game works, you can apply it in your own life, in your surrounding, your family, and so on and so on. So I've been obsessed with that, and I know you are. That's why Tim and I talk every single day. That's also why it's kind of natural to. It's actually kind of unnatural to do podcasts because it's like a layer in between. It's like for example, the first one we recorded, I didn't like the podcast. I also don't remember it in detail, but I felt like, Jesus, this is like 5% of the quality that we have in our everyday conversations. And I would like to find a way to get there.
To exceed that. I think we can even exceed that. Because
Probably,
it's more focused. Like right now we're talking with way more focus, and I'm even taking notes, which I'm usually not doing. And we can get into more detail. What you said was interesting, and I asked myself, you said it's finding out what's working, and at some point, like I would ask a question in the first place: how can you tell that something is working? That's probably the most important question. What does it works actually mean? To me personally, it means being less stressed and being more present, being more vital, being more in the moment, living a more happy and meaningful and purposeful life. Actually having like feeling like being on the planet is good rather than bad, and it's an enjoyable experience rather than a bad experience. And the thing is, being on this in this whole healing whatever thing, maybe that's what you wanted to say also. The quest for to look for what's
What
working,
quest?
the quest for, yeah, also the quest, like question comes from quest. So the
Really?
quest for
Oh,
looking for what's working can actually become into something that is not working anymore. So
sure.
the search for function can become dysfunctional, and this is kind of what happened in the like when we started the like this podcast episode. um I started this podcast with, wanting to have fun, and now it became something, yeah, that it's an obligation, and I don't want that. um so Yeah, and even looking for answers, like when I'm observing myself now, there's always this part, not always, but most of the times, and the differentiation is important. But there's a part in me online that I guess is online with most of the listeners as well, especially when you get into the healing circle, that it's a part that wants to understand and wants to find out why things are the way they are. And the thing is, in the moment, right now, I'm like looking, oh, why did I start the podcast then? Blah, blah, blah. What's the meaning? And all of that. I can already feel myself dissociating into my thoughts and into like dysfunction. And the thing is, what's working at some point in the healing journey is not what's been working in the beginning of the healing journey. Because at some point, it's not about finding answers, it's about embodying the answers that you've been finding on your quest. And then it becomes less about analyzing and understanding, but more about actually living a good life and doing things with the intention of uh, having more love and more presence and more, more of the good stuff.
So I want to offer you a what's the right term? Like a variable to basically in a scale from, if it is like a polarity, like how much, think of like a percentage scale. So something you go from, like a slider button from left to right. How much are you right now performing doing this podcast versus actually talking to me?
Mm, I definitely am performing. I would say it's 40% talking to you, 60% performing. But I also think it's not that simple, because there's not just performing and not performing.
Yes,
Um,
but that's also you overthinking the question, because the answer was 60-40.
mhm,
And it kind of like matches, because I would say I'm 80% performing and 20% talking to you. And that's probably a lot of talking to you.
mhm,
I'm also very stimulated and interested right now. I mean, the start was nice because it was weird. I think you were waiting for me. That probably created some tension because apparently you have some other stuff to do today or something. And then also we had a team meeting earlier where I guess you were told or we were told that like we said we're going to record and we didn't or something. It was, I don't know, wasn't so much on my mind, but that might have affected you, obviously. And I really found this to be fun the moment it took me zero effort to solve this tension by just asking you that question. That's also why I really love you, because I mean, for many things, but one of the things I love about you is you're doing the fucking work. And I can tell in the moment that your answer isn't defense, but it's actually something that helps us co-regulate, not just yourself, right? I mean, I'm fucking sensitive. I think everybody's actually very sensitive. I think I'm very exposed to it. I think I'm just terrible at repression, at least on many levels. I guess there's infinite layers of repression, but like if you actually care about the quest, like if you want to find answers, if you want liberation, you're going to tend to over time to not seek the problem where you cannot solve it. Right? I mean, you could have told me, oh, I was pressured by them into doing this and blah, 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 blah. And you could be more angry and more like not relaxed. And also that would have been fine. But this just was very effortless. And by the way, if that is not understandable from the context, because I guess we're weirdos doing this type of work like all the time, I could tell that he was like that. Tim was really off when we started this podcast, and there was a lot of tension and frustration in the room. And I can bear that because, like, Tim, like, I have an easy time accepting him the way I am. And I feel very safe with him. With other people, I might have reacted with stress or the need to perform or with like a little bit of anxiety. And that's not only uncomfortable, it's like it makes you worse at everything. It would have become like a weird, artificial, stupid, whatever. It's something that I wouldn't be happy with.
I think I just understood something about myself because I just inquired why I was feeling tension. And I was feeling tension because a part of me really wants to read. Like I'm back into reading, and I'm reading a lot. So around 4 hours a day. And the thing is, I just caught myself. I want to read not because I enjoy reading, but because I want to post a story on Instagram tomorrow telling everyone that I finished the 2 books that I'm reading right now.
Really? Really?
I'm being, yeah, I mean, I'm being brutally honest right now. These things are going on in the back of my mind like all the time, and they are stressing me
You
with
could just lie.
without me being conscious of it. And I just was like, fuck yeah.
I would believe you
I'm
every day you post you finished the book. I wouldn't even question it.
um and it's the same thing here. I started reading the books because of the joy of, understanding and knowing, and just because, yeah, for like amazing reasons. And now just with this podcast, it became a thing of obligation rather than doing from the heart, and for good reasons rather than I need to do it because I need to do it. And while I said that, I could actually feel my jaw relax. And I have like my jaw is like recently my jaw has been like there's so much tension in there. And I start to understand now because like I understand why, because maybe I'm just biting through things without them having any soul to them. And I don't want that because I'm a soulful guy. Like I like good things, I like beauty, I like all the good stuff. And especially when it comes to reading books and like spending 4 hours of my day with that, it better be soulful and not like obligation. And that's true for everything in life. And that's also,
That for me is true for any 4 minutes, to be honest.
yeah, exactly. And it becomes more and more truthful. I think there's like a point in the quote unquote healing journey where this becomes glaringly obvious, because the need to heal and to release blah 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 becomes less important, and actually just what I just said, like having a purpose and following it with like pure intent and heartedness, and yeah, not wanting to get rid of something, but rather than moving towards something that is meaningful and beautiful. And I lost track of that, and now I'm back on track, I guess, or a bit more on track. And it's interesting. It's really interesting because Finn sort of triggered that in me with being a bit late. And I was like feeling like the podcast is an obligation. And then I guess that's, how I do the work. I inquired like, there's some sort of topic with obligation in the room. What other obligations am I having right now in my life? And I'm like, oh, I want to read later, and that's why I'm stressed. So maybe reading is another obligation. And all of this, like, I understand that my jaw gets tense, and I also got sick for the past days. If my life is an obligation, I don't really want to live it. So my body does the death for me.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's like literally, I like the, how's it, is it called displacement in English? Like in psychoanalysis, I studied it in German. It's a Verschiebung, which is basically, well, there's an issue, you don't resolve it, so it just goes onto another layer. And one of the layers is physical symptoms. It might be conflicts with other people. So basically, you have an inner conflict, right? So, for example, somebody wants you to do something that you don't want to do. That's a conflict. And the real way to solve it would be to say no, which sounds trivial, but I can tell you I made a career of teaching people how to do that. And it changed their life for fucking eternity. By the way, are we recording? Because I don't see a waveform with me. Am I being recorded?
Yeah.
You sure? Okay, because it doesn't show a waveform.
Because the shit we're talking about is so profound, we better be recording.
Yeah, I like this podcast so far a lot.
Nice.
Yeah,
What did you
said,
can you
like, did you mean that what you just said or not?
what? That were
Like what you just
profound?
said, it's true, but you said it almost like a joke.
Yeah, it was a joke, but it was also true.
So is that just your insecurity about
Finn
recognizing
is like the little psychoanalyst today. Wow.
today?
Or was it my insecurity? I feel like Adrian in your old podcast, he always was the psychoanalysis scapegoat. No, I love it. Was I insecure? Good question. Yeah, it was this kind of like a slight pinch of self-deprecating
Yeah. So by
humor.
the way, I'm not pressing you. I'm out of that stage where I get off of finding other people's like topics and dynamic, like big news. You're insecure, like you're a human being. Big news. You're a sensitive human being. Big fucking news. No, what I'm trying to say is everything that you said in that sentence that you like delivered as a joke is true.
Yeah.
Like I speak to you every day because you're saying the most profound shit to me that actually like lets me learn about life.
Mm-hmm.
And it's your job and it's what you do in your writing. It's why you originally, apparently, and how I learned today, started reading books. And it seems to have worked. I think there's more people who read many books in the history than people who said profound shit afterwards.
Mm-hmm. What did you there was, you just said there was one thing that you taught all of your students. I think the English word is conversion, actually. It's not the kind of conversion we teach in the trainings. It's when a mental thing becomes a bodily thing, or one thing you do in the one moment and you don't resolve, you reenact with another person in another moment. Can you elaborate on that? I find it really interesting.
I'm just asking Claude.
Nice.
It's like the one thing that's clearly defined is like terms of psychoanalysis. No, it's displacement.
Displacement. I think conversion is then somatizing thoughts.
Is conversion? I literally don't know, but I want to know because otherwise we're gonna.
I read it in the book that I'm reading currently.
Psychoanalysts who not listen to us. Oh yeah, you're right. It's exactly how you said it. Yeah, it's basically the word for somatization.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what it is called in German? Conversion.
I don't know. I think that's conversion is like an old school term for that.
Okay. Well, anyway, so what is being called displacement? We don't care as much about the word. We do, Tim and I, but that's not the important part. So basically, what I was talking about is, so there is an origin of any conflict, and that is usually a very simple thing. It's something like your parents force you to go somewhere you don't want to go. Or when you need help, they laugh at you.
That's a conflict.
It's a conflict because you actually, like, your natural reaction is actually anger and seeking justification, like seeking righteousness. It's inbuilt. People, fucking monkeys freak out when you give one a treat and don't give the other one a treat. Like they go to war over this shit. And like, that's all people too. Like you see how people react when they feel like, when they in their whatever world model they have feel like something is unjust. I mean, people go to war for something, right? There's a reason people do like the most absurd and destructive thing they could do with the highest risk.
So when you don't go to war with your parents, you go to war somewhere else.
Yes, and the layers are, so to say, first of all, you go maybe first you go to war. I think let's think about this in terms of layers. I think the more easiest way out is you go to war with somebody else where it's safe to go to war. So that's traditionally your partner because it's the relationship with most stability in your life. Right? And it's also the easiest to project because you love them and so on and so on. And then if you don't do that, classic example, you actually have a conflict with your boss at work because they're mistreating you. And then you go home and you tell your partner that they are treating you in that way.
Ah.
And in psychoanalytic thinking, which I think is correct, by the way, mostly, or just is a big part of the truth, That would mean you're trying to resolve, it's actually a productive process, you're trying to resolve that conflict on a theater level. And it's natural. That's like you need to do that because you cannot hold the tension yourself. The tension is too much, right? It's painful. There's pain in you which you haven't fully felt because it didn't feel safe to do that in front of your boss, because you didn't want your. That's an ego death, by the way, right? The humiliation of being in pain.
So there is a situation where a loop is opened up, for example, child parent, and the child wants to express an emotion which would technically close the loop, for example, saying, oh, I'm pissed off because of this and that, and I want this instead. It's not possible because if the child did that, the parents would be angry and the child would feel threatened. So in order to close that loop, the child or the adult child takes that situation somewhere else in order to close the loop, right? Something like that.
So one of the main, I mean, that would be called transference, right? Like projection. You would start to see the aggressor in somebody else that is safer to feel.
Yeah.
Could be like I pick a fight with my teachers because that feels safer than with my parents. For most people, teachers will not feel so safe, specifically since they usually team up with the parents. At least my history was, and I've seen it a lot. So you go on. Like for me, it was I got an abstract enemy. It was like capitalism or capitalists or billionaires. By the way, they're like really on vogue to be your projection surface. People hate billionaires and haven't met one. That to me is absolutely ridiculous. And also, if you ask them, don't know anything about any of them. Like literally,
it's all fantasy. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's easy to project because I mean that example is also so like obvious. It's like you think they're powerful and have everything you don't have, and you think they should share it with you because you feel disenfranchised. And then you see a lot of actual disenfranchisement, which is obviously a true thing, that some people are really left out by economy and politics and whatever, just due to where they live.
There's one thing that I recently saw, and it's really interesting. I think it feels really well. It feels really well and it fits really well. The question is, where do I experience you? Like when somebody is standing in front of me, where do I experience you? Most people would point at the person.
Wait. You? Can you say what do you mean by you? Like experience the person that is in front of you?
Okay, no, yeah. Where? So in this moment right now, I'm talking to Finn, and the question is, where am I experiencing Finn? Like my initial response is pointing at Finn.
No,
because Finn is there, but actually we experience people in ourselves.
You mean like the physical sensation in your body?
No, where do I see Finn?
See
like
him?
where is Finn located?
Like
Finn,
in your physical experience, like in your.
Yeah, my brain is generating Finn right now. So Finn is sort of more happening within me than without. So we're
but
always
not only in theory. You mean like in your actual experience, right?
Yeah, right. Like phenomenal. The word is phenomenology. Finn is I'm dreaming up Finn right now. And
yes, I would say you're perceiving part of and dreaming up the rest.
Yeah, something
that's
like
what
that.
I meant with the scale. Like how much, because the more I perform, the less you can actually experience me, the more you have to come up with some shit about me. That's inauthenticity. And by the way, it's like requested at many points, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you're supposed to show up at work at a version that's not you because it's not adequate to do whatever.
So when it comes to relationship and the displacement we just talked about, we can say like the more I see you through the lens of my fantasy and my shit, the more I experience you in my head, the less I'm in true contact with you.
Yes.
Because I don't know who you are.
Yes, I would say this is the root of all evil. Like all true problems are social. Every worst and best experience in your life has to do with other people. And everything you really care about has to do with other people. There's no such thing as a person, I don't like other people. I'm like, nah. It's like, dude, you're broken, you're traumatized. People who didn't absolutely adore, love, and crave other people's attention, love, care, connection, they fucking died out in evolution because it's impossible to survive on your own. Maybe nowadays for a few years until you get so depressed, And yes, there's this one guy who became really happy in the mountains, but guess what? He learned that as a reaction to other people.
He is probably what's the word displacement? He's probably displacing a sense of loneliness from childhood into the mountains.
Yeah, that's exactly what that will be psychoanalytic thinking. I think you can successfully displace, and what you pay for it, think of it as an economic, like trauma has a certain type of energy. It's like a certain level of pain, of effort. Like the higher the pain, the higher the effort to keep it down. So if you think of like a drug addict who has to destroy his entire fucking life and family life and all his relationships just to not feel the pain. So they're willing to do, I don't know, fucking crocodile, which is like meth, but 100 times worse. You can imagine, I would think that the equivalent pain is like subjectively as much as destroying everything and destroying your body and basically risking your life. That will make, I mean, I don't know. I haven't been in that situation. I don't know anybody. But that's what I experience with almost any other topic. So when you see people doing like a massive amount of effort and risk to basically evade their real feelings, I think like you can assume that the pain is equally as big. And the correct reaction to that, in my mind, would be to have equal amount of compassion.
Yeah.
That being said, if you think that towards the end it's meaning having compassion, I mean, again, you don't have compassion by somebody telling you to have compassion. But I think the logical conclusion is that to have the most compassion with somebody like Adolf Hitler, who did an unbelievable amount of effort to do the worst things by any standards. Like nobody likes that guy. Like nobody wants to be Adolf Hitler. I mean, some people, they're so far gone like he was that they think they want to be like him, right? Or they worship him. But that's nobody who's like, nobody who has any sense, who has any clear mind or like an open heart even to like, nobody says like, oh, no, this was a great guy. Like that's what you should do in life. Like everybody fucking hates him for eternity and wants him to see him rot in hell. And like imagine the type of effort and energy that goes into that, like a whole fucking civilization basically turning on parts of this, starting war with everybody. I was like, I think this guy must have, I mean, I guess I'm guessing here, right? But following what I think about life is like he must have had an inimmeasurable amount of pain in himself. He was also, according to documents, extremely physically sick, like extreme level of psychosomatic symptoms, extreme level of medication and drug use. There's like actual documents on that. I'm not making this up from some conspiracy nonsense. Like there's medical records. Anyway, I don't even want to, like, it's an odd topic to talk about because everybody has their fucking projections about it.
I guess the what we're doing in our work now when we do emotional release or when we're having sessions, and also actually what we're doing in this podcast here, or when we're in social interaction with other people, is we try to provide a space for our clients or our friends that is so safe that the loops that couldn't that couldn't close in childhood because of a lack of safety can close. So I want to provide Finn and also my clients, and that's also like, I guess, true for you. If you really love someone, you want them to be able to be themselves in especially in habits and behaviors and thoughts and whatever that they cannot accept because they were never accepted in childhood or when you were bullied for something or whatever. It's really, I think in the end it's really about contact and really about safety, and that is always equated with love and compassion. Like, can I be so safe that you can maybe express things you've never expressed in your entire life, or cry tears that were waiting in you for decades, and then maybe live differently until then, after then, and until then. My brain is not
Yeah,
really
I
working
can
today.
totally follow you. I think it's nearly as bad as you think.
Yeah.
So, for example, why can Tim very quickly shift out of a shit state into a like very comfortable, productive state where what he says mostly makes sense? Is because, for example, it is very safe in front of me to, I mean, we have a relationship, first of all, right? Like a very close relationship. So he has a lot of experience with how safe it is to verbalize a few things, what reaction he will get. Like imagine him saying, and this could be a very common scenario. He says, yeah, I kind of actually, I don't really want to do this because I feel pressured into this. I would rather read books. And I could also react, like I've seen tons of people react throughout my life, like, yeah, but don't you know this needs to be done? It isn't taking so long. Like, I don't know. I could like do whatever the agents do when you're trying to escape your pattern. And well, why don't I do that is because, well, I'm not into that prison that he is in that moment. I didn't feel an obligation to do this. I literally asked to do this podcast because I wanted it. And even after the team making some weird speech about how we're not, I mean, the team is the other two hosts. It sounds like what's the whole
We have an
fucking world?
army behind us.
Yeah. No, it's just like them being, I don't know, like they have more of a prison about getting things done. Like they're very much identified with the I said A, so I have to do A. And by the way, I think that is actually I subscribe to that value. It's just a question of like how do you act it out? Like where do you think it's adequate? And they have very much like, you know, a strenger Lehrer vibe sometimes. You know, like a strict teacher type of head teacher vibe. That's funny because Ashley is literally the head teacher of the institute. But it's funny. Anyway, so what I'm trying to say is, well, their level of freedom in terms of letting Tim have his creative schedule, which is, by the way, in contrast to many creative schedules, unbelievably productive. Like I see somebody like with unbelievable output of productivity right now in his life. Like he worked a lot for this. And they also recognized it, but they're also more identified with whatever, you know, whatever it drives them to like have to be annoyed and aggressive when people say they're going to record a podcast and don't do it for a week. I don't have that. And apparently I'm just reflecting this. I have a level of freedom where to me, podcast is such a joy and I like doing it so much and I feel comfortable doing it. I feel like I'm excited to do it. That like when somebody even like makes a drama out of I haven't done it, but I don't know if you told them that, I don't know, like somebody has said, I might have even been it, I don't remember, said that we're going to do it. It's like, I don't hear I'm like, what are we discussing about? Like, let's just record a podcast right now if you care so much. Like that's my reaction, but that's also a healed topic, you know. Like I would have with many other things that are very like that take a lot of effort, where I need support, where I need basically a loving trust or yeah, actual help. Well, there would piss me and dysregulate me off a lot if somebody said that, and that happens a lot. By the way, it's also an interesting case because I actually react very strongly like this. I'm very sensitive to these things because I always feel like I'm working, and then hearing I don't work enough is like very painful. Because that is a prison I definitely have, but not with podcasts.
What is the one skill when you just said my ability to take me out of states like this? What would be the most important skill that facilitates a change like this? My theory is that it's the ability to detach, like to basically what we call hard state / master state in our trainings, which is actually I think technically it's the non-dual
Call it
state.
master state, and Ashley calls it hard state because she's a feminist. Okay,
It's
don't
it's the
identify with
thing,
her.
you know, it's for everybody's listening who doesn't know what we're talking about, it's the thing that Eckhart Tolle talks about. It's like being present in the moment. And I think the thing is with that, with actually being in a non-dual state, people don't get the utility of that, because it's not, you know, people are in a non-dual state and are suffering severely because they actually suppress loads of shit when they're like on their 20-day vipassana and always come back to the body, and you know, the mind is bad, blah blah blah. I think what I'm doing differently, and also what we teach in the training, is to take it one step further and to take the state, the essence of meditation as a basis to do inner work, because you can only do inner work if you have a sense of otherness, like I am experiencing my thoughts and I can reflect my thoughts. And then I need to additionally have the insight that suffering equals bad or suffering equals not bad, but it's something that I can,
Suffering is really bad.
something is stuck, yeah, but not bad. You know, these are parts that want to be
Yeah,
loved
if
as
you
well.
can
So
if you can turn it into like a liberating experience, then it's actually better to have suffered than not. I agree. I'm saying this because this is like a common teaching in our circles, right? It's like, yeah, suffering isn't really that bad. It's like, yeah, ask anybody who's suffering. Like, I think that's complete bullshit because no, many people say, oh yeah, I want the ego death. It's like, no, you fucking don't. Because I see enough people while they're in their fucking ego death and they want to literally physically die to not have to experience it. I don't want an ego death shit, like bullshit. I will eventually have to. It's like, you know, you're letting off you're shedding off layers and it's painful as fuck. And if something inside of you has decided to do it, it's like, good luck avoiding it. I mean, that's also, you know, we have a very close friend of Tim and Mines. I would consider him my best friend, like somebody I really love. He's going through like a big fucking ego death sequence right now. After denying his wishes and dreams for a long time, and then he's getting out of a relationship. He's considering changing his jobs, considering the country. Like everything's just a mess. And that's how an ego death feels like. It's like, guys, I fucking don't want to live anymore. And that I can take very serious. I hear that and I'm like, well, fucking amazing you call me.
And the thing is, the appropriate reaction to that is not, oh, nice that you're suffering, good, like you're being cooked properly, you know? It's not like...
It's the worst possible experience.
Yeah. It's
the worst
really...
possible experience.
Yeah.
Because it
It's
doesn't matter
like...
what it produces in you, but if you're beyond, if you go as low as I cannot, like, it's so painful, I literally don't want to be here anymore. And I'm trying to find reasons to stay. It's like, you know, some people react with, oh, that is just drama. Oh, they just want attention. It's like, good fucking God, you're dissociated. Because imagine that was true. Like your fucking daughter that cuts herself or something really just needs attention. It's like, you know what she's fucking lacking? Attention. And you know whose fucking fault that is? Whoever made her. And you know, like, who else needs attention? Every single fucking living being, organism in this world. And if you don't give it, they die. Oh, but she just wants attention. Yeah, it's probably she's being too dramatic, right? That's so dramatic. Ah, she cuts. Oh, it's so dramatic. It's like, yeah, that's really helping her, I'm pretty sure. You know, the fact that you're somebody who would react like that is the whole fucking reason she has the symptom in the first place.
So I guess I've learned, I think I found this, like, the second ingredient here, because I've learned through the years that once I'm not able to have compassion towards myself, I tend to be in a, like, I tend to slip into dysregulated states. Once I'm really hard on myself, like that's my entry point for a for a shit show. When I start being hard on myself, it's getting really tough for me. And the antidote to that is being compassionate towards the part that is being hard on myself. Being like, yeah, you must
Oh,
have a really hard time, and wow,
oh,
like
that's interesting. That
you're
wasn't
really
that.
carrying a burden.
Being
Because
compassionate through the
he
part
doesn't
that's
he
happening.
yeah, he doesn't want to be met with the same energy that he's giving me, because actually he's probably craving the opposite.
Yeah, that was also the nugget I took away because I haven't conceptualized it like that. But yeah, if you have acceptance for yourself, you actually also have acceptance for the part that is attacking you, right? I mean, that's almost like a next layer because I think you could stabilize yourself by, you know, when you feel attacked on the inside, like it drains you, whatever the symptom is that comes up, you have tension. If you get angry against that part, that actually would work and you're one layer freer. But yeah, if you go another layer, you would actually also see why there is something to defend against in the first place, right?
I call this, this is a concept that I'm working on. I call it holonic repression. So
Excellent.
you always go with whatever state or consciousness that you're in, and you want to detach from that and have compassion until you have compassion for the part that is having compassion.
But so that's called equalizing and it's part of our teaching.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's equalizing, but I have
Call it
like,
what you want.
it's
Yeah,
it's
call
it's
it what
with
you
a
want.
it's
I
with a
like holonic because
different...
it's a kind of Wilbur term and it always gets me off. So
Yeah, it has a different twist to it, but I think that kind of changed my life, and also the ability that is, and the freedom that comes with that, because it's not easy to do that, and it sometimes takes like weeks, or like a good friend like Finn, or the friend we just talked about, whose name is Hutan. Shout out to Hutan. it takes a good friend or someone loving to be able to do that, and someone that is also able to point that out. Maybe sometimes hearing, Tim, you're really hard on yourself, is like the most healing thing that can happen to me, because that's
Specifically if it's not a criticism.
yeah, it's like it's coming
It's
from
an
compassion.
invitation to take a break and
Yeah,
reconsider how you're treating yourself.
yeah, and to me there's
In a way, I
also
did the same thing when you earlier were laughing about saying the truth, because the truth might have been full of confidence, or other people might not be able to speak as positively about themselves or something.
Mhm.
You know, when you were starting to smirk at, you just said, "Oh, we need to make sure this is recorded because this is such profound shit," and you were like, "Ha ha ha." Like, who am I to pretend I'm saying profound shit? It's like, do you listen to yourself, bro? It's like, that's all you do. It's like, you haven't said a boring thing in like 3 years.
That would be
Maybe, I don't know.
that would be a challenge for me to not say boring things for a whole
See?
podcast.
Freudian slip right there.
Nice.
Freud is very present today. It's like it's birthday or some shit.
Yeah, we carry Freud in our hearts today.
Oh, that's so edgy, dude, because he said something negative about women 200 years ago. How can you like learn from such a guy? He's such uncivilized. He's so uncivilized.
I heard someone say that Freud is like, we overlook the degree that Freud influenced basically everything, starting from when he, came up with psychoanalysis. We don't talk about it because it's so common, and it's so
Yeah, that's Jordan Peterson, actually.
ingrained in our
That's Jordan
heads.
Peterson. He says there's a painful thing about having a legacy. When the legacy runs so deep that the whole culture has adapted, it looks like you said obvious shit that everybody knows.
Yeah.
It's like literally, you listen to people say, everybody, including my mom, they use psychoanalytic vocabulary.
Yeah.
They talk about repression. They talk about projection. Like, that's literally like shit he came up with. People are like, yeah, but he had it from Nietzsche. It's like, whatever. This guy made it world famous.
Yeah.
It's kind of an amazing legacy. It's like you're so influential that people don't even understand your influence. It's kind of, I mean, talk about legends, right? Really, did you ever read original writing? Because we did in university. It's so fucking odd to read. Like, the whole language is so fucking odd, and the types of examples. Like, I was laughing so hard at some points. Like I don't know. There's like the shit you just thought about. Like, writing like part of your book, that was considered scientific literature. It was like published, right? Like from universities and whatever. And then like he does a footnote about like, isn't it so obvious to deep psych? I'm just randomly paraphrasing, right? It's many years ago. Like, isn't it so obvious that the only true motivation for the farmer is because he couldn't put his seed into the mother to now put the seeds into Mother Earth for the rest of his life or some shit like that. And I'm like, bro, I don't know, bro.
Don't you have anything
Maybe
better
he just
to do?
wants to be useful, I don't know.
Imagine Freud just gaslighting the farmer, sitting next to the field and be like, yeah.
I've met practitioners like that who will do everything to convince you that everything is an issue with your mother. I'm like, yeah. And I mean, also, to me, what's the weirdest thing about, I mean, it's a bizarre example, but I'm also like, yeah, even if, whatever. I mean, there must be some motivation why you're, like why does something get somebody off? I always wondered. I mean, humans are so fucking diverse. Like, that somebody's biggest fucking dream is to be a bird and fly down the Alps until he dies because he's doing it so much. Somebody else wants to do skydiving. The other person learns to be fucking underwater for 15 minutes without a tank. Somebody else is a fucking like goldsmith and just hammers away at like metal his entire life. Somebody else needs to sing in front of people. It's like, that's so specific and it's so different. It's like, what drives that?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was asked that actually in like one of the first seminars I took. It was an NLP seminar, and they do something genius, which is called modeling. And what they basically do is like so what they did, they called it a Fähigkeitenbörse. So basically a marketplace for skills, which I really liked also as a concept. So they were basically saying, that was at a point in the seminar, like many days in, where people were feeling good about themselves and we had elevated confidence, whatever. And there's, what is something that you're really good at? Or even what is something that you're fucking terrible at, which would be an amazing skill in another context? Think being very neurotic and then being a bookkeeper, for example. So basically, they were trying to find the inner representation and the behavior of whatever you're really good at, and then we tried on other people's skills. And I remember that a very wanted skill on that marketplace that I had was an obsession with learning. So a lot of them were like, yeah, I got the course materials, but I fucking procrastinate learning. It's like, what? I read it like twice, and I can't even read well because I have ADHD. It's like, this is so interesting. It's like, how do you do that? So, and then they went through a format, which I found very interesting. Actually, we should do this at the academy. It's kind of cool format. There was basically like a worksheet and various exercises to extract. Basically, the idea in modeling is how do you have to navigate your nervous system, like your body, your state of mind, your thoughts, blah, blah, blah. How do you have to breathe? How do you have to embody yourself? What do you have to believe about the world, etc. Like the whole setup to perform the skill. That's basically Tony Robbins' work, right? He's like the premier NLP practitioner globally. Like he calls it different, but it's literally just NLP. And what he does is, he looks at like what do people who achieve greatness, how are they, and then he tries to like pass that on to others. So, and then you can say like, how do you know that something is relevant? Well, you can literally feel it in your body. And something I started this with, first of all, is Freud right about the farmer? And second of all, what does give people like an unbelievable motivation to do one thing forever? And this was actually very beautiful because they asked me, so for example, what are metaphors that you would use to describe your, so there was one client that had the issue that they procrastinate. And then there was one, then it was me, that case, who was loving it. And they tried to like contrast the inner worlds. Is this interesting to you, by the way? I don't want to bore you.
It's good. Go on.
It's good. It's good enough.
It's good
So,
enough.
no, is something bothering you?
I'm getting a bit dizzy.
It's too much, too fast, too soon.
Too soon. I'm not ready for this.
No.
No, I
don't need
would.
to explain yourself. I'm just asking, like, can we equalize?
Can we equalize? I guess I want you to finish your story. What?
It's really demotivating.
Why?
What's on your mind? No, it's.
No, I'm physically getting tired. I'm like.
Yeah, but I don't believe in that. You know that.
What's on my mind?
I don't want to tell a story to tell a story. Oh, and I don't want you to sit there waiting for me to finish a story. I want to have an actual conversation with you.
Oh, that's a good one. Because in the moment you started sharing the story, I had a hard time listening because I thought I was getting tired. And then I made you into someone who is sharing a story for the sake of sharing a story rather than having the joy of having someone else reciprocate it, like listening.
And that effectively also made me into that person because I could feel my energy drop, right?
Yeah.
Fuck that story.
Fuck that story. Fuck the Fähigkeitenbörse. I guess, I mean, if there was a skill marketplace, a skill that I would like to grab and acquire more, it would be.
It's not that one because you already have it. Yeah.
It would be the belief or the ability to even quicker realize when I'm doing things out of obligation and because I need to do them rather than doing them out of joy or a deeper meaning.
That is by the topic that speaks like through us the whole time versus what we're trying to talk about.
I know that's why I circled back to it, because that seems to be in the field, and also that's the main learning I have from the conversation so far. And now I'm starting to get energy back, and I have like this weird movement in my stomach, and I'm starting to wake up again.
Yeah, strange, right? You were physically tired 2 seconds ago.
Yeah.
This odd guy claimed that doesn't exist. odd guy might be right. Yeah. No,
Because
it's
there's
beautiful.
also with that connected is the question, what do I really want, and the belief that, can I have what I want, or do I deserve what I want? Because when I
Well,
listen
if you
to you and
assume
I'm
that you
like,
could have it, what would you change? If you didn't ask the question, but you would act out the possibility.
I want to have a blast.
Yeah. You don't want to be bored by a shit that doesn't interest you because you're not feeling it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I have the confidence to tell me that and talk about actually interesting stuff for both of us instead of like getting off of my story, which is basically like masturbating in front of you while you don't feel it, which is really nice if somebody's feeling it, which is really fucking odd if they don't, and there's also ways to do it which are really not cool. But you know what I'm getting? Like, some people I think have sex like that. Like the other one is sort of into it. It's okay. I don't like that type of sex.
That's really like, that's a proper like life learning from me right here. Because with you talked about me having like incredible output. One would assume that I'm having the output because I'm super disciplined and I'm like pushing through the hard stuff. But actually all the stuff, so for everyone listening, I recorded 30 YouTube videos in a few weeks, and I think it was 3 weeks. And I have a complete free course now on my YouTube channel. And all of that was through enjoying it. There was not a single moment where productivity correlated with, I need to do something, blah blah blah. And every time it did, the quality significantly dropped, up to a point where I learned about myself that I cannot record a YouTube video and I cannot do a thumbnail, I cannot find a title if I'm not in a good state, if I don't actually enjoy it. So that's sort of the maybe the general learning of the past weeks. Like, where's my soul moving? Where's resonance? Where's connection? And where's obligation? Because I don't feel like anything soulful can happen when we do something out of the belief that I have to do it. And it's so tricky because, especially when it comes to productivity and creating something, it's so easy to slip into the thought of, I'm like results oriented, and forgetting to
What do you mean
enjoy.
by that?
So for example, when I have this plan to do a 30 video course. So recording 30 YouTube videos is a result that I want to generate in my life. But the thing is, it's not about generating 30 YouTube videos. That's just the result. What I actually want to do is to build confidence, to build joy, and to actually start enjoying being a teacher and being in front of the camera so much that that creating the course becomes a byproduct. And when I'm stressed and when I'm like, oh, but I still have this plan to do that, and I don't feel super well, but I'm still going to record like 3 or 4 videos today, it's easy for me to slip into that pattern of, but I actually what I wanted was recording, like finishing this thing, and let's just do it. And I can do that, and I did it, but it wasn't soulful. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's also weird because I was this guy that I'm watching content of. He was talking about this whole law of attraction manifesting thing, and he was like, visualization super powerful, blah blah blah. And he said, don't manifest the outcome, manifest or visualize enjoying the process while getting there.
It's NLP, by the way.
And
Tony Robbins.
I was like, that's so cool. And this also resonated with me, like enjoying the process. So I guess the bigger picture here is that
Smart.
interest, when I'm zooming out even more, what we're talking about here is what we just discovered is there's like a cluster, or like a sun, or like an object of interest right now, or like a dynamic of interest that we're circling around that is somewhat manifesting in our field. It has something to do with obligation versus freedom, something like that.
The team call was about it as well, right?
Yeah, and that's the interesting thing to me. even with me watching that video, for some reason, I was interested in it. I watch like hundreds of content pieces per week, but maybe 1% of them are interesting
What
to
are you gonna
me.
say, day?
And what is the thing in us that is choosing what's interesting to us in that way? And also, who is choosing where this conversation is leading? So who is choosing what is actually joyful to me and what not? And I don't have like Jungians would call it the self. There's like different theories around it, but that's like super mysterious to me. And that's also why I like open conversations like these and talking to you and talking to Hutan, and also therapy, coming in with an open mind and just spilling out my whatever is going on in my head, because there's usually themes and patterns that establish themselves. And then I can make connections, and I'm like, oh, that's why I was so stressed for the past weeks. Oh, this is why, this is that. There's always like a movement that our psyches are doing, and I think all it needs is like an open, safe space to flow into, which we already talked about in the beginning of the episode.
But interesting, right? That's a basic idea of psychoanalysis, right? To like you freely associate, and the analyst picks up the patterns.
Yeah,
very smart idea.
Yeah,
it's kind of how I work. Just realized. I mean, I don't sit weirdly on a couch smoking a cigar.
Not yet.
And you're lying down and you talk about, I don't know, sexual repression in the 1900s. But yeah, kind of happens naturally.
Yeah, it does.
What's going on inside of you right now, Tim?
Right now, I feel a bit more awake. I feel hungry. I feel, I guess, stimulated. I wonder how much longer we're going to talk, but I also know that it's going to end when it needs to end. What's going on in you?
Yeah, no, I just feel what is a good metaphor for that? I feel like I know this from somewhere, but I can't come up with it. No, I feel there's just natural end coming. You know, we have this a lot when I'm on the phone with Tim for like 6 hours, that like the fifth and sixth hour is just me monologuing, because he just creates this like resonance space in which I can really explore my mind. But he's kind of just, I don't know if he's falling to sleep or he's
usually
doing something on the side,
like mundane things.
And I think that's maybe that's something I appreciate in my private life. It's probably not the right format for a podcast.
No, it's not. I mean,
by the way, I don't know if this is the real fucking Dubai chocolate that everybody raves about, but it's mid.
Dubai chocolate is underrated.
Underrated?
Is it?
Overrated.
Oh, overrated. Yeah.
I mean, whatever I'm eating, I don't know if this is the real thing. But I'm like, this is the hype. It's very sugary. I don't know.
I mean,
it sounds like food from that region, you know, like overly sugary because they had to do it for preserving it in the heat. I don't know. It's okay. I mean, it's nice that she brought it. It's what I enjoy most about it.
Maybe that's a good ending point. Don't eat Dubai chocolate. Get into psychoanalysis. Love yourself in the moments you don't love yourself.
Oh, fuck psychoanalysis, seriously. Like it's a dead practice, I think.
Yeah.
They have built up a whole it's like the Christian churches, you know, it's like they just build up so much massive infrastructure around it that's just ridiculous. I wouldn't recommend that to anybody. Doesn't mean they don't know profound shit. Hello, people. Random structure for the anxious of you. The end. I don't know. I have a hard time taking it serious. Okay. There was really nice parts in this conversation, I think. Like really stimulating, interesting, and very worth listening to. I like this much better than the first episode. Which was mid.
Yeah. Nice. And I'm looking forward to record the next one, actually. And I like this open format of just us coming in and sort of getting into a real conversation and talking about what's actually present and distilling cool stuff from that.
Sounds like a podcast. What else do you do? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't really have a topic for today.
I mean, there was. We just didn't get to it.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Like we were just talking and listening and reacting.
So I think of having a topic prepared as like a fallback method, like second floor.
Mhm.
So it's not as awkward if you don't get into it starting.
Yeah, we hope you enjoyed this episode, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.